Inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, Cafe Kubal on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, and 401 South Salina Street in Syracuse, New York. Also on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, in the giant behemoth of a brown stripe building in their double-decker cafe, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse in their drive-thru location. Always happy to be on the recruiting trail, and it means the world to me to be able to speak with those young men and women trying to figure out what fits them best and being a part of their journey, not only before they choose a school and when they choose a school, but obviously after that and then beyond that as well. So I want to once again thank all of the wonderful men and women around the country that have given me the opportunity to share their story and outside of the country as well. And with that being said, we have a spotlight here in this conversation with Matt Scicchitano here, coming from Mt Carmel, Pennsylvania, and he has just announced his top 3, and he will be taking official visits to each of those schools. So very happy that we have the opportunity to speak with him coming off of making that top 3 decision and going into visiting these institutions, as he has decided on his final 3 to be Temple, Coastal Carolina, and Syracuse. And Temple and Coastal Carolina looking at Matt Scicchitano for defensive line, and Syracuse looking at putting him at tight end. So with that being said, let's bring Matt in. Matt, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing absolutely great. Excited to be on here, talk about my future and everything. So yeah, I'm doing great. Great to be here.
And Matt, you and I were talking off the air about this, how I actually know Mt Carmel, Pennsylvania, and I have a lot of respect for the Pennsylvania student athletes. So for people that don't know, what can you tell us about Mt Carmel and what you've taken away from the level of competition that you've had?
Yeah, so we play Double A. We're a small town, but this town, it's a football town for sure. On Friday nights on these home games, pretty much everyone's showing up to watch us play, and we have a very deep tradition. Football-wise, we're actually the winningest high school team in the entire state of Pennsylvania. So definitely football is a huge part of this town, and I'm very blessed and thankful to be born and raised here.
And for you to play for the most successful, the winningest program in this, not in your area, but in the state of Pennsylvania, that's an incredible, first and foremost, congratulations on being a part of that history. But just bring me into what that's like to put that jersey on for Mt Carmel and know that you are the winningest program in Pennsylvania, in the entire state.
Yeah, it's an incredible honor, and everybody who plays for us, all my teammates, my coaches, we're all incredibly proud to not only just play for Mt Carmel, but to uphold that tradition and that record for as long as we can. And I'm just very thankful for the opportunity to uphold our tradition and to advance it.
And, Matt, you're coming in, incoming true freshman class of 2023. So you got another season to come up here, knowing that you are a part of the winningest program in the state of Pennsylvania and Mt Carmel, and to have one more ride. What are you most looking forward to with this final opportunity with Mt Carmel?
Honestly, all eyes for us are on the state championship. So we have a fantastic team coming up. Everyone is bought in, and we're all just very optimistic for the season. And like I said, all of our eyes are on the state championship. So I'm looking forward to competing, and hopefully getting to that state championship game. That's what I'm looking forward to.
What is it about Mt Carmel that you think has brought out the best in you? The level of competition in practice, your coaching staff, who you go up against. What can you attribute to really bringing out who you are today?
Well, honestly, all of that you said. I have incredible teammates. Everyone that I play with is bought in. They all bring their best out in practices, and we have an amazing coaching staff. Each of our coaches have some root in Mt Carmel, whether they played for Mt Carmel or had someone that played for Mt Carmel. So great tradition. And I would say the town, everyone expects great things out of us, of course. And so I'm very excited to bring the town something. I feel like around here there's not much going on other than football. So our team's got to be good. We have a lot of pressure on us, but we're all ready for it. I'm ready for it. So that's all.
Here with Matt Scicchitano on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Matt, you're being looked at, like I said before, at defensive line as well as tight end. Do you have a preference?
I would say I don't have a preference. I play two ways for my team, defensive line and tight end, and I absolutely love both. I'm definitely more of a blocker at the tight end position because, my team, we only pass the ball maybe like 4 or 5 times a game. So, I like blocking people. It's almost like defense. You get to go out and I guess you can pancake kids, be dominant as a blocker as well as defensive line. So, I guess I love playing both positions.
And for you, knowing that your top 3 has come down to schools that are looking at you on offense as well as on defense, so you have options within this. Bring me into how you cut down your list to 3 and how difficult it was to go through that process.
Yeah, so I would say I cut my list down to 3 based off of the level of play. And it's a mix of a lot of things, but I would say level of play, location, and just how much love the coaches have showed me and the communication between me and the coaches.
Were there any teams that were hard to not have in this top 3? Any schools that you really were like right there, were like maybe 3.5 or right there at number 4 that you thought were really difficult to not put in the top 3?
Absolutely. I would say the most is probably Buffalo. They were the second team to offer me. I've been up there twice, and I had great communication with the coaches, but yeah, I didn't include them in the top 3. They provided me with a great opportunity, but personally, and after talking with my parents about it for a long time, I didn't include them in the list just because I feel like these 3 opportunities, hold a better future for me, and I think they're just a better opportunity in general for me. So
let's break them down individually. Why do you think Temple provides such a good opportunity for you?
So both my parents went to Temple and my brother went to Temple. So my family has roots with them. They're about 2, maybe 2.5 hours away, so they're very close. I've been to 1 or 2 Temple games when I was younger when I would go visit my brother who went there. And the coaches, I talk with them every day. I love the coaches. So, I'm very excited to go up and visit and see what they're all about. But, I so far, Temple is great for me. All I gotta say about that.
And you talk about the family ties to Temple. Does that make it difficult to say no to? I mean, obviously they're in your top 3. You could very well say yes, but where does that all, when your mom and your dad and your brother all went there, do you feel the pressure of that? Do you feel like it's because it's such a family thing that it just makes more sense? Where does that stack up when you look at the other 2 schools?
Yeah, I don't get any pressure from my family to go anywhere. They're very good with that. And even if they're not saying anything, I don't feel any pressure to have to go there just because they went there. I would just say mainly because they're very positive and they're proud alma maters of Temple. So I hear great things about their school all the time. So I would definitely say that's all I have to say about that. I have no pressure to go anywhere. It's just the things I hear from my family all the time just makes Temple seem like a really good school for me.
And you're going on an official visit to Temple June 15th to the 17th is your time period that you're going to be going out there. What are you most excited about, and how much do you know about Temple going into it besides what your family's told you? How much research have you done? How comfortable are you? And just what you could tell me about the official visit.
So I would say the most excited I am for the visit is actually getting to meet the coaches in person. Definitely, of course, seeing the facilities, what they have to offer me academically, all that good stuff. And then I would say, sorry, what was the other part of the question?
Just, about going on this official visit to Temple, you talked about what you're most looking forward to, and what it means to you, but, overall, maybe what you knew about them going into it, if you had done any research on Temple.
Yeah, so I do a good amount of research for every school. They got a new head coach, running back coach from Texas, Coach Drayton. I'm very excited to meet him. I think most of their staff is very new, if not all of them. So I know that. Haven't particularly been successful the past couple of years in our conference, but everything looks up. They're getting some good recruits. So, and they have the support system. I mean, they're one of the only big football schools in the entire city of Philadelphia. So that's very exciting. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to go see what they're all about.
Does not having recent success in football play a factor in the school that you'll choose?
It does play a little bit of a factor, but the one thing that, kind of counter that is, when I go meet the coaches, trying to just get a good feel about, where they at. Of course, every time a coach comes to a program, they're going to say, they're going to change a program around. But I feel like when you meet a coach, talk to them about their plans for the program, you can kind of get a better feel for it and kind of get a good feel of how they really can help change a program and what the future looks like for them.
We shift to Coastal Carolina, and you talk about, Temple not having recent success in football. Coastal Carolina is the opposite of that. Coastal Carolina has gotten into the college football playoff rankings in the top 25 in the nation of 130-plus football schools in Division I AFBS. They've made it in the top 25. They made it to strong bowl games. They've gotten double-digit victories. They're coming off of a 2021 season where they were 11-2 and won their tail greeter Cure Bowl game against Northern Illinois. So Coastal Carolina has the success. They have the recent success. They are leading the Sun Belt. They may even be, helping entice some institutions in realignment to join the Sun Belt and be a part of that with them. So what can you say about Coastal Carolina, a team that has had a lot of success?
Yeah, absolutely. They've been very successful, and they're only trending upwards. They have a great coaching staff. Again, going up there, I'm very excited to meet them all. And, I would say that for them, their location, obviously, beautiful. They're on Myrtle Beach. They have a very good program. They've only been I talked to one of their coaches. They've only been a Division I program for 4 years. So for them to really, or the FBS program, I should say, but for them to really turn it upwards just like that, I can't wait to see what the future holds for them. So
you talk about the location here with Matt Scicchitano of the incoming 2023 class at tight end and defensive line here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as we join him on the recruiting trail here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. You talk about location in Coastal Carolina. I got a friend of mine, Dan Fresina, who went to Coastal Carolina, and all I hear is positive. All I hear is beautiful. I've been out to the Carolinas before, North and South Carolina, and I know that there's some really, really fantastic areas. So how much does that play into it, that if you go to Coastal Carolina, you'll be by a beach, and that'll be a very different experience than Temple and Syracuse?
So personally, I've never visited in the Carolinas, specifically Myrtle Beach, but yeah, Coastal, their motto is ball at the beach. So it'd be an amazing opportunity to be able to play football down there, so close to the beach, and just an amazing location in general. And in terms of a difference between Syracuse and Temple, I like the city. I've been in multiple cities before. So it wouldn't be it'd be nice to play in Philly and in Syracuse. I haven't been in Philly in a while, but in Syracuse I've never been to. But it's definitely different, compared to those two locations. But I would say it does play a little bit of a factor. But it's really hard to say until I go see it for myself. But that's all I have to say about that as of now.
Their record is 22-3 in the last two seasons. Your thoughts on that?
I mean, you said it yourself, 22-3. That's in the entire nation that has to be up there with the best. And like I said, they're only trending upwards. They've been a Division I FBS program for 4 years. So that's incredible. They can do amazing things in the future. And I talked with their defensive line coach. I talked with their head coach. But I just really want to get down there and meet them and kind of get a feel of, what their future holds there.
And right after you go to Temple on your official visit, speaking here with Matt Scicchitano, you will see Temple the 15th to the 17th, and then from the 17th to the 19th, you'll be in Coastal Carolina. So you're going from one right to the other. Like you said,
Yeah.
you want to meet the coaching staff, you want to be around them, you want to see what it's all about, you want to see the atmosphere and whatnot. What are your thoughts on the fact that, you're having this back-to-back official visit and that you'll be in Philadelphia and then literally leave Philadelphia and go straight down to Myrtle Beach?
Yeah, it's definitely it was definitely interesting when I had the opportunity to go back to back, but I'm actually very, very excited for it. You get to go see one incredible program, and then you get to see a different program, incredible program, of course. And they're two opposites of each other in terms of, location, where they're at, coaching staff. So two different places, two places that I absolutely love so far. And I'm very excited to see both of them and back to back, of course. It doesn't bother me that they're back to back. So I'm still very excited for both.
And then your third here in your official visits, you chose Syracuse. And coming up to upstate New York, bring me into why Syracuse has made the top three.
I would say one, of course, I feel like it's a no-brainer because, they play in the ACC, highest level of competition. They had a really good season a few years back. And, I feel like they can definitely turn it around 100% or else they wouldn't be in the top three. But I feel like they can definitely turn it around and become another top program in the ACC. So I'm very optimistic. Like I said, it's another one of those things where you got to go talk to the coaches, get a good feel about where they're at with their future before I make my decision. But I'm very excited to go up there.
And you said, obviously they'd be looking to turn things around and whatnot. How much research have you done on Syracuse, and do you feel like they're improving anywhere?
So I've done some research. Yeah. They got a new offensive coordinator, Coach Ane, I believe that's how you pronounce it. He has some success in Virginia. So, they definitely have some new coaches. They still have the same head coach, Coach Babbers. But he has a new support group, if you want to say that. So, they definitely have an opportunity with new coaches, some new players to get where they need to be. So yeah, like I said, I just got to meet them and see what kind of feeling I get from them.
Yeah, and how much do you know from the coaching staff? Who have you built a relationship with at Syracuse up to this point?
Yeah, I would say basically just the defensive line coach, but he just recruits this area. His coach, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I'm pretty sure it's Achuff, Achuff, Chris Achuff. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but yeah, he came up to my school for a day. I saw him, talked with him, and I've been talking with him almost every day since then. So,
and for you to have that connection, is who of these three schools of Coastal Carolina, Syracuse, Temple, who's been keeping in touch with you the most? Who do you think is most devout in making sure that they're consistent with you?
I would say Temple, definitely. I talk with their tight end special teams coach, pretty much every single day. He sends me a text, sees how I'm doing. He's a great guy. I've gotten FaceTime with their head coach, with their defensive coordinator a few days ago. So I would say Temple, definitely.
So you feel like Temple has done that. And where are Syracuse and Coastal Carolina? Do you feel like they're close, or do you hear more from one of those two?
I would say I talk with Coastal and Syracuse a good bit. maybe like a few times a week. They check up on me. We talk a little bit about things. But yeah, I would say Temple, they talk to me every day. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
So you're coming up to Syracuse. How much do you know about Central New York? I know some people, they see Syracuse and they think New York City. We are 4 hours away from New York City, right in the center of the state. It's my hometown and where I have grown up and where I started my business. So how much do you know about the actual area? And will this be your first time to Central New York?
Yeah, it'll definitely be my first time to Central New York, and I don't know too much about it. I have one of my good friends. He's up in college at Utica.
Okay.
I'm not sure how close is Utica to Syracuse.
Utica's about an hour.
Yeah, he told me he's been to Syracuse and he loved it. Just the area. He knows it's a great school. But yeah, I've never been there, and I haven't done too much research about the area, but I do know just from my friend telling me and a little bit of research. I know it's just generally a really nice area, and they have a really good school.
And so you're heading out there on June 24th. You have a little bit of a break after you go back-to-back Temple and Coastal Carolina. What made you want to have a little bit of spacing in between, and what do you think about Syracuse being your final official visit there?
I would say, I was just talking with the coaches, and that's just the date he gave me, so I didn't really make like a choice whether it would be later. I'm sure if I wanted to visit sooner, I probably, but I didn't really see the need to. A little break would be nice, kind of get thoughts in the first two schools down before I make my final visit.
Is there a chance that within these visits you could make a decision right then and there, and that could be it? That, you could visit a school and say, all right, you know what, I know this, or are you definitely, no matter what, going to at least visit all three of these schools before you make a decision?
Yeah, 100%. Even if I have an amazing visit and I just love everything about it for the first two, and I'm like, you know what, I'll probably go here. I'm still gonna give the other schools a chance, not for myself, because you never know. You can always have a better visit and all. So I would say definitely 100%. I'm gonna take all three visits.
And for you to now be at this place where you have your top three, when would you like to make your decision? Ideally, when would you like to make a choice?
I would say probably sometime. I want to make a decision kind of as soon as possible, but I also want to give myself a little bit of patience, because when I make my decision, it will take some pressure off me. As far as recruiting goes, I would say maybe early July. Have some time to think after all my visits and then make my decision.
Matt Scicchitano here with us. Do you mind the fact that Temple and Coastal Carolina are looking at D-line and Syracuse is looking at tight end? I mean, you could get into any one of these schools and they could flip it in the other direction, but does it matter to you the fact that two are looking at defense and one's looking at offense?
Honestly, not really, because I don't really have to change anything in terms of how I play in high school, especially my weight or anything like that. I'm good on that. So when I go to these schools, they'll get me where I need to be weight-wise. They'll teach me the skills I need to learn. And like I said, I have no problem playing either position. I absolutely love playing either position. So I don't really think that factors too much in my recruitment, like who I choose. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. The position won't really affect anything because I love to play both sides of the ball.
Prior to your official visits coming up, are all three of these schools, Temple, Coastal Carolina, and Syracuse, even, or has anybody taken a lead in your mind?
I would say they're all even, just because of the fact that I haven't really gotten to see each place and meet each coach personally. So, I feel like you could talk to coaches over the phone and all, but until I really get to meet them in person, it's, and see everything for myself, it's kind of hard to give a lean to one school over the other.
And before we wrap up here, Matt, your thoughts on your play on the defensive line as well as at tight end. What do you think are your best attributes at both positions, and what are the areas that you're working on the most at both?
Yeah, so starting with tight end, I played offensive line my whole life, and until last year I switched to tight end. I would say, in terms of that, I would say blocking is a great strength. I'm really good at pulling, just straight up base blocking, reach blocking, any kind of blocking. Kind of have the technique and instinct down just from doing that my whole life. And what I would say I need to work on, just from doing it for 1 year, anything involving in route running, ball skills, maybe, even I would say IQ in the passing game as a tight end would definitely be things I would need to sharpen up on. And then defensive line, I would say my strengths would be, honestly, like my strength. I have really good strength. My size, my speed. I feel like, I make plays in the backfield a lot, which is, important. In the run game, I'm pretty good. I take up a lot of blockers a lot of the times in these games, getting double and triple teamed. But things that I could work on, I would say, you can always work on your pass rush game. Working on moves and all, not relying on my strength, because that's something that you definitely can't rely on as much in the next level. Just, brute strength and pushing through guys. You got to work on pass rush moves. And then, again, I would say just IQ. You can always work on your IQ, getting in, knowing situations, what you got to do, like pass rushing and run block, or in the run game. That all ties together, offense and defense, with experience. So that's what I would say about that.
That coming here from Matt Scicchitano on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Final part of the broadcast, we do something on the show, Matt, called Rapid Fire. It gives us an opportunity to get to know you a little bit better, and it lets the script get flipped on me. So you can ask me any 3 questions in the world, sports or not, and I have to answer them, and I get to ask you 3 back. So you get to put me on the hot seat, and I get to return the favor. Any 3 questions in the world, and I'm going to let you ask me first.
All right, sounds good. First question, favorite professional sports team?
Of what sport?
Like any sport. Like, do you have a preferred sport that you just love watching?
I would say if I had to choose the 2 teams that I probably watch the most and am most connected to, it would be my NBA team, which are the Toronto Raptors, and my football team, the NFL team, which are the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right. Let me see. So you're a huge Syracuse fan, of course. What's like the moment? Like, how long have you been a Syracuse fan for? Before I ask my question.
I was born and raised in Syracuse, and there's a picture of me 1 year old that my dad and mom put a SU sweatshirt on me. So I have been connected to Syracuse my whole life, and in 18 plus years of broadcasting, I've always covered them in some way, shape, or form. So it's my whole life I've been connected. I mean, listen, I'm connected to the heartbeat of the city, and the heartbeat of the city I'd like to think is connected to me. So I'm 36, so I'd say 36 years. Okay,
awesome. So my question going off that would be, what has been your most memorable moment of being a Syracuse fan?
Most memorable moment, 2003, Syracuse winning the national championship in basketball. Football-wise, my most memorable moment, I would have to say Donovan McNabb. I went to a game and he faked that he had thrown the ball and everybody bid on it. And what he did was he faked the pass and he had the football at his hip. And Kevin Johnson, and Donovan and Kevin both played in the NFL, and Kevin Johnson was my favorite wide receiver growing up, and he took the ball, one of my favorites, and he was on the right side of Donovan McNabb. Everybody ran a deep route except for him. Everyone's down the field. They're like 20, 30 yards down the field, and they're like, where the hell is the ball? And Kevin came around and took it off the hip of Donovan and then ran it up the field. I was at that game with my dad. One of the craziest moments for me. And then I would also say I love covering Eric Dungy, love my relationship with Eric, with his family. God bless his dad in heaven, and that we got to do something special before his dad passed away. So Dungy, when I asked him the first question of the press conference at their last bowl game, the Camping World Bowl, that provoked him to cry, when I said not just about this moment, but believing in yourself and all the naysayers and all the negativity and the injuries and everything you've been through and all the adversity, what does this moment mean to you? And that moment where he got really emotional and talked about how it means everything. I would say, of my professional career, that moment, I would say, as a fan growing up, the Donovan McNabb, Kevin Johnson moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good stuff. So I got one more question.
Yeah.
What's your favorite place to eat in Syracuse?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. I work with a lot of great businesses. I will tell you that I love the food at Cafe Kubal, Avicoli's, Wildcat Sports Pub. Of all the places that I have the opportunity to work with, obviously, I work with Chick-fil-A, Cicero, and Chick-fil-A Clay, and I love the food at both of the Chick-fil-A's. So, Pizza Man, I want to make sure I didn't leave anybody out here. So, everybody's food is good. Mother's Cupboard, of course, their breakfasts are fantastic. PB&J's Lunchbox and Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Carvel DeWitt. I love them all. And if I had to pick a place that maybe I haven't worked with yet, which is what I'll do here, to pick a place that we're not partnered with yet, I would have to say I love the food at. Jeez, this is tough. I would have to. Oh man, I feel like they're out in Alex Bay. It's called Foxy's, and I really love it out there. It's right on the water. You can literally pull your boat up to the dock and eat right there at the restaurant. So I'd probably pick Foxy's as one of the places because I just, they're local and the food's great and I love the experience there. So I would say them. I like Limp Lizard's food as well. Their barbecue is great. Their jalapeno cornbread is awesome. I love their brisket. So I would say Limp Lizard's another one that I really, really love their food. So that's a couple places.
Awesome. I'll have to give someone a try on them up there.
Absolutely. You definitely got to go to Mother's Cupboard and get anything breakfast related and really anything that they have on the menu because their lunch is great too. But I am a big fan of the ham, broccoli, and cheese omelet. And then because part of me was born in the South in my mind, I don't think anybody does chicken and waffles right in upstate New York. And you can order my personal chicken and waffles at Mother's Cupboard, and they're fantastic. We spent 4 different times sitting down, the owner and I, Pete Green, creating the sauce to make sure that it was perfect, as perfect as we could get it. So if you want to have some real chicken and waffles, go to Mother's Cupboard for that.
All right. I'll tell my parents about that. That sounds awesome. I'll definitely try to give it a try.
So my 3 for you, we're going to stick with food in the first one. You can pick 3 meals, or you can pick 1 breakfast, 1 lunch, and 1 dinner. And you can have anything. So you can have like multiple things for it. But if you had 1 meal for breakfast, 1 meal for lunch, and 1 meal for dinner for the rest of your life, what could you eat every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
That's a great question. So breakfast, I would say, to be honest, just regular scrambled eggs, bacon, toast with jelly, and a glass of orange juice.
Okay.
When I eat that, I know that's just a simple thing I like to eat for breakfast, and I love it. So, and then I'd say lunch. That's a hard one. I would say probably one thing I got to keep in the things I eat every day for the rest of my life: Chipotle. A good Chipotle burrito. Okay. To go into specifics: steak, white rice, lettuce, guacamole, mild salsa, just something like that. And then for my dinner, I would say specifically the spaghetti and meatballs that my grandmother makes. It can't be any other spaghetti and meatballs. It has to be the one that she makes. Let me see what else. Yeah, she also makes chicken cutlets with that. So I would say that for my breakfast, my lunch, my dinner, to have to eat for the rest of my life, I would be pretty happy with those 3.
Italian spaghetti, like an Italian person making spaghetti meatballs and chicken cutlets. That like you said chicken cutlets, and everything inside of me perked up. Like if you
makes the sauce. She makes sauce, homemade sauce. She lets the meatballs soak in the sauce. It's unbelievable, and I had to include that because every time I go over there, every Sunday, that's what I look forward to the most is that meal right there.
Sunday sauce. You're a true Italian. So, second question for you: favorite childhood memory.
Favorite childhood memory. Honestly, one thing that sticks out when I was about I think I was 8 or 9. It was, so we have a high school rivalry,
okay.
Shamokin, and we played them in a game, the last regular season of the last game of the regular season every year. It's called a coal bucket game, and we've beaten them 25 years in a row. But when my brother played on a team when I was 8 or 9, we were losing. We had the ball with about 30 seconds left on their 10-yard line, and it was 4th down, and we were losing by 6 points. And it was 3rd down, and they stopped us, and their whole entire crowd started coming down. They were about to run on the field. They were all excited, but we threw a touchdown on 4th down, so we tie them, and then we kicked the field goal to win the game. And then it was just a great memory to see everybody on the other sideline just walk right out of the stadium as everyone on our sideline just run out on the field. That was a great memory for me.
So when somebody thinks the game is over, sometimes it is never over. Until it's over, right? It's never over. So.
Absolutely, yeah. They all thought it was over because we were on the 10-yard line, and they stopped us 3 plays in a row, and they were all getting excited and thinking they were going to stop us again. But, yeah, it was an awesome memory. I just remember – running right out in that field.
And that's, to me, that's a top 10 worthy moment. So
absolutely.
Really awesome. And I love that. And it also shows you never give up.
Yeah. Sure.
Final question for you, Matt. Besides the food, favorite thing about being Italian?
Ooh, favorite thing about being Italian. It's a good question. Besides the food, that's a really good question. I would say, honestly, everyone around here, around the cold regions, is mostly Italian. But I would say just my blood being Italian, my grandparents, my dad, they're very tough people. And I feel like being Italian, has a good deal with that. So, they always told me and taught me how to be a good person, how to be strong in life, never give up, like you said. And I honestly do feel like it ties into being an Italian because, honestly, I don't even know how to explain it. I just really do feel like that. My grandfather, he has real deep roots, being an Italian. His father was from Italy, so he came here, started, his family here. So I would say that just having I love being Italian, my family, especially my grandfather and my dad really taught me how to be a tough person. And it really helped me in life.
If you can make it in an Italian family, you can make it anywhere.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it, what I was saying.
Yeah, it's the truth. Matt Scicchitano here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hailing from Mt Carmel, Pennsylvania, the winningest program in the state of Pennsylvania and the incoming freshman class of 2023 for college football. He's narrowed it down to 3, and he will be going on official visits June 15th to the 17th to Temple, June 17th to the 19th to Coastal Carolina, and June 24th to Syracuse University. Matt, it has been my pleasure to have you, and as I told you off the air, I would love to continue your journey, and as you go on these visits, and when it comes time to make the decision, I would love to be able to be a part of these moments with you, if you'll have me, and always look forward to having you back on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fantastic talking with you. You had some really good questions, made me think a little bit. So, I would definitely stay in touch with you with my future, how these visits go and all that. So thank you again for having me.
That coming once again from Matt Scicchitano here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of these Cafe Kubal studios for the special engagement broadcast. And why did we do a bonus show? Well, we've done 2 bonus shows this week, and we did one yesterday on Friday, June 10th, because of the fact that the American Athletic Conference came to an agreement with the University of Central Florida, the University of Cincinnati, and the University of Houston for them to leave a year early and head to the Big 12 on July 1st of 2023. And so we had Mike Oresco, the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference, join us for a special engagement broadcast at 6 p.m. Eastern Time yesterday. You can find that on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, and on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt. You can also find that in all of our archived places, TuneIn, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Podbean, YouTube. MixLR has its archive as well. And so iHeartRadio, so make sure you check it out there. And of course, with this special engagement, I had the opportunity this week to catch up with Matt Scicchitano and from Mt Carmel, PA, the winningest program in the state of Pennsylvania for high school football. Congratulations to Mt Carmel for that. I know the name Mt Carmel because obviously I went to school at Marywood University in Scranton, Pennsylvania. So a big shout out and much love to Mt Carmel, and I'm very happy that I had the opportunity to speak with Matt Scicchitano today. I wanted to share that with you on the airwaves. So the fact that we got to talk and we got to put this up here today means a lot to me, as we had the opportunity to meet each other over the air, and we'll continue to blossom that relationship. And on the heels of him selecting his top 3, which are Temple, Coastal Carolina, and Syracuse in no specific order, and ahead of his official visits, once again, June 15th to the 17th, he'll be going to Temple. June 17th to the 19th, he'll be going to Coastal Carolina. And on June 24th, which is my G-Mama's Remembrance Day, he will be going on June 24th to Syracuse University, taking official visits with all of his top 3 schools. So I want to thank Matt Scicchitano for being a part of the show, and I look forward to you listening back to this broadcast and sharing this broadcast with your family, friends, coworkers, and colleagues. It's a beautiful thing to do, to spread the wealth, right, and to send it out there. So we appreciate all of you that not only listen and watch live, but that go back to the archives and connect with the show, and those of you that share it with your family and friends. We really do appreciate that, and I thank you so much for that. So, once again, for Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, every Monday through Friday, you'll find us live 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports meets that thing called life. We are on Facebook.com, YouTube.com, and MixLR.com, all /WakeUpCallDT to keep it easy for you. And we are also on Facebook.com/Live Now DT, and you can find us on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage, where the MixLR feed is embedded. As I said a couple minutes ago, you can search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podbean, TuneIn, and more, including Audible and Amazon Music. You can ask your Alexa devices and Google devices to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and they will do that for you. All you have to do is go to any one of these many outlets for your streaming goodness and search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. With that being said, I want to thank our Central and Upstate New York partners and beyond: Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, PB&J's Lunchbox, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Millhouse Market, Honda City of Liverpool, Pizza Man, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Victory Sports Medicine Orthopedics, and Mother's Cupboard. And Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the proud multimedia marketing partner exclusively of the fantastic Lemoyne College Dolphins, the Marywood University Pacers, and the Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and from inside of these Cafe Kubal studios, I implore you to head off to Cafe Kubal and support local today and all throughout the week, and all of the wonderful companies that you just heard from. Head out to Cafe Kubal on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse. Also on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, in their giant behemoth of a brown-striped building. You can't miss it. It's like the welcome center of Manlius, where all the roads converge into Manlius. There you will find Cafe Kubal on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, with an expanded parking lot. And you can go to their drive-thru location on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse. So, Find us on Facebook at WakeUpCall.DT, the Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. For Matt Scicchitano and myself, Dan Tortora, a big shout out to Mt Carmel in Pennsylvania, and a big thanks to all of you. Have a great day, stay safe, and as always, God bless.